Hi guys, my name is Delilah. This is Humble Tea, and I just want to thank you for being here tonight and wanting to listen to me speak and taking time out of your very busy schedules to support me and just by listening to me. So that already means a lot. I'm filled with so much gratitude and grace from all the positive feedback that I've gotten from people. And I'm just so excited for where this is going to take all of us all together, because I can't sweat this enough. We are all in this together, and we just have to look at each other like that every day of our lives. So I do want to mention that I don't know how serious I want to take this. I do take myself serious, but I try not to take myself too seriously. So I'm learning as I go, and it's just a fun hobby that I just want to do. Not for myself. I don't care about looking cool. I don't care about validation. I don't care about trading in my authenticity. I don't care about being a pretender. This is who I am. And something that I always stand by is that I'm here to not prove myself, but I'm here to be myself. And something that I have always been, that I've learned to love instead of hate about myself, is my vulnerability. I'm very comfortable with putting myself out there and using myself as an example so that other people can kind of shift their perception of a certain reality that's currently happening in their life. So, and a lot of us already know these things. We already have these life skills. It's just we become a little rusty and we forget what we're capable of, what we're really made of, what we're here to do. And that's why I'm here, because my whole life I felt like I've known so much and it's become exhausting. But what I came to realize is that when you know so much, it's only exhausting if you don't do the work. And that's for any life skill. You know, like when you first start working out, it's fucking exhausting. I hate it, getting into the routine of it. It sucks, but it only sucks if I'm not doing all the work to enjoy the process of this new health journey that I'm undergoing. So, some of the feedback that I got from a lot of my new followers and subscribers were to touch up on 3 key points that I had made on my first video. Now, if you haven't heard my first video, I do recommend listening to that recording before you listen to this one. That way it may resonate a little bit better. I try not to be all over the place, but I know I can get kind of sidetracked at times. And this is just something that I'm doing with my own style. I don't want things to be too rehearsed. I want it to be raw, and I want it to be genuine, and I want it to be emotional, because something from what I've observed from a lot of the things that I watch is that a lot of the concept that some people build when they do stuff like this, it just feels really sugar-coated and rehearsed. And I feel like I'm pretty good at talking in a sense that just gets through to people, because I'm myself when I'm doing this. I'm not following a script. I'm not following an agenda. I'm not following another blogger, copying their style. I'm doing what Delilah wants to do. I'm doing what she wants to do. I'm putting my ego aside, and I'm being whatever God wants me to be right now. And if this is what he thinks that I should do, then I have a moral obligation to take action and do the work, because I know I can do the work, because I've seen it help people. And I want to do more. My soul is hungry for more. I just want to, as of lately, I've been getting more involved with my community, and I'm so excited, and I wish I would have gotten more involved earlier on. So I've been running into these people who have been doing it for so long, and I just respect them so much, and they're so inspiring that it makes me want to be better. They're planting the seeds in me to be more attentive and be more involved with my community. So, yeah. So I'm super excited. And one of the things that someone had mentioned was that they want me to talk about generational curses and generational cycles. Same shit, however the fuck you want to label it. You know what I mean. The second thing is how I was able to channel my inner child so that I could be more compassionate and forgive the people who have hurt me, and be able to lead by example so that they can heal themselves. And thirdly, what things did I implement in my own mind so that I could move on from a toxic relationship, which I'm flattered that a lot of people have been making it seem like I make it look easy. It was not easy. That was real fucking ugly. It was hard, and we're always on social media talking about like, oh, I'm dating me now, I'm my own best friend, motherfuckers ain't shit, that girl's for the streets. But deep down we're hurting, and I like to talk about why it hurts us and how we usually react and how we continue to damage people by not forgiving the people who have traumatized us in the past. So tying into the first one, this one was a little bit hard for a few reasons. I've had to redo this video maybe like 5 times because one, my phone kept dying, and then my iPad started glitching, and then I kept stuttering, and fourthly, I was just trying so hard not to make it sound real and not rehearsed, because I'm putting so much of my personal experiences into this that I have to be respectful and careful about what I say and how I say things, because I don't want to offend anybody. But this is my truth, and who the fuck is gonna stop me? And I know it's gonna help people. So, and that's what I want to do. I'm doing this for everyone else. I benefit too just by listening to myself talk sometimes, which is why I always tell people, spend more time by yourself. You are your own best friend. You're also your worst enemy. So get to know your enemy, get to study the enemy, get to know yourself. And nothing can stop you. No one can tell you shit about you because you know yourself. And that shit is beautiful. That shit is sexy, okay? When you know yourself and anything just bounces off of you, that shit is hot. So, first and foremost, I guess I'll go over the generational curse. So, my example, I'm gonna try to be very careful how I state this. So, I had a very dynamic upcoming. Me and all my sisters did. Nobody had it easier than the other person. All of our dads were pretty crappy to us when we were young. Some of us to this day. By the way, I might say a lot because I'm running off of 2 hours of sleep. So if you're drinking right now, grab your tea, grab your Jameson, grab your whiskey, grab your cognac, champagne. Take a shot for every time I say because I'm probably gonna say it every 10 seconds, every 0.10 seconds. Anywho, I was about to say it again. So this is what I want to talk about, and this is what I think is so special. So me and my sisters always grew up. We never had a close relationship, and a lot of it is to blame due to a generational cycle. So my grandmother was married 2 times. She had kids from her first marriage, and then she had kids from her second marriage. And my mother had a similar thing. She had kids from different marriages, which is very normal. Here I get the hiccups. Which is very normal. So our story is very blended. But where the problem started was when I started to realize that my mother was projecting her trauma that she went through onto me. And at the time when I was younger, I didn't see it that way. I saw it as like, F you, it's all of you guys against me. What did I do wrong? I didn't know how to communicate or perceive everything that was happening around me. Not yet, at least. But later on, I realized when I moved out and I had some time to slow down and observe everyone around me and pay attention, I realized that my mom was doing the best that she could based on what she had gone through. Due to everything that she went through, she had to carry these defense mechanisms that later on proceeded to be kind of toxic in the lives of her daughters. So the reason why I mentioned that my grandmother has kids from a different marriage is because from what I've observed, I think my grandmother feels a little bit more sympathy from the kids from her first marriage, because from what I hear, it was a broken home, nothing was stable, it was very toxic. Whereas my grandmother's second marriage, who is my grandfather, and they're still together, happily married, and that's my mother's dad. So my mom is this child from my grandmother's perfect second marriage. So right away, I think my grandma felt an obligation to be there a little bit more for the kids from her first marriage, because she had this impression that my mother didn't need as much attention and attentiveness from my grandma, because my grandfather was still in my mom's life. She still had her dad, whereas my aunt and uncles didn't have their dad anymore in their life. So fast forwarding decades later, my mom has me and all my sisters. We're from different marriages, and it's been said to me a couple times when I've expressed this observation that I should be grateful that my father was at least somewhat semi in the picture, even though I only saw him every once in a blue moon. But my mother was given the impression that she felt obligated to be more there for my older sister, because my older sister had a traumatizing childhood as well. So it kind of left me to be in the back burner for quite some time. Take this hair tie off. And kind of feel left out and feel like the black sheep of the family. So my mom is treating me the way that my grandma treated her. And now it's stuck with me. And now I ask myself this question: am I going to do this to my daughter when I have kids? If I have a blended family, am I going to love one a little bit more than the other because of how I was treated? Or am I going to confront it head on and study everyone around me and figure out how I can get everyone to break this curse all together at once without offending anyone, without making anyone feel attacked, without anybody feeling embarrassed to confront these toxic traits within our families? So I don't want to say too much, like I said, just out of respect, but I hope I could help you get a better idea as to what I'm talking about here when we're aware of these generational curses. I have the best relationship that I have ever had with my mother, and it's something that I prayed for ever since I was a little girl, to be where I'm at right now emotionally with my mother. And I'm so proud of her. I'm proud of us. I'm proud of our family because of how far we have came with healing ourselves and each other. And it's coming from a place of triumph and gratitude and appreciation. It's not coming from a place of resentment or trying to bash anyone. We still have our ups and downs for sure, but this is something that I pray to God about, so I don't get to choose how it looks like when it is delivered to me. He gave me the tools, he gave me this mindset, he gave me these eyes to see things, and now I gotta do the work. I have to do the work. I have to study how their body language reacts to certain words. I have to study their traumas. I have to study what words they don't like, what tone of voice to use, what analogies work for them. You have to study the person that you want to get this message across to. Because people like to always push on communication is key, communication is top notch. Communication isn't shit if you don't have perception from both sides. It's pointless. Because you can communicate, well, you make me feel like this, you make me feel like that. But someone's just not gonna, it's just gonna come out the other ear. They're not gonna get you. Whereas if you can bring perception into communication and make it not sound personal, but say it in a way that you've studied and that you know that they're gonna comprehend it, that's when the magic happens, when we put our pride aside and our ego aside. My dog is making weird noises. To get a message across. So tying back to this generational curse, an example that I like to use is, I think it was around Mother's Day last year, and my mother is so strong. She gets it from my grandmother. They're the strongest women that I know, strong-headed. They will never say sorry, but they'll say it in other ways. And that's something that I've accepted. And I've adjusted to accept my grandmother and my mother. And I think it's awesome that they're that way. But anywho, my mother was talking about how she had noticed that my grandmother was hanging out with one of my aunts, and it made her feel some type of way because she felt left out. And I was listening to my mother, and I'm looking at her, and I'm like, yeah, like, I know how you feel. Like, you feel unwanted, you feel forgotten, you feel abandoned, you feel like you're not favored. And she's like, yeah. And I looked at her, and I'm like, yeah, I know how you feel. Hello. I'm right here. Do you know who you're talking to? So she, of course, looks at me, and she's like, shut the fuck up. Like, you know, because that's how my mom talks. That's how we talk to each other. And she's like, oh, shut the fuck up. And I looked at her, and something pushed me to go hug her. Even me and her are not affectionate at all, but something pushed me to go hug her. And I looked at her, and I was like, I know you didn't say it. Sorry, you know. I know you didn't say it, but I know that you are. And I hear you, and I listen to you, and I feel for you. I love you. And it was the first time we were affectionate towards each other. It was the first time that I felt comfortable saying I love you to her. And it made me so proud of us, and I'll never forget that. And like I said, it's a slow process. And no, the point of the matter is that she did not say sorry. I didn't need to hear sorry. But that was observing the kind of person that she is now that I'm a woman myself. I looked at her, and I looked at her proud, like, there's my seed that I planted. Just the fact that she was able to acknowledge it, at least, meant the world to me. And it gave me this hope and motivation that it's working. Like, everything I learned outside of our relationships through other experiences that we go through, I'm implementing them into my family, and it's working. So that's something, a generational cycle that's personal, just one of them that I'm sharing with you right now to get you to better understand of what I'm trying to do here and what I mean by what I say that. So the second subject was channeling your inner child to inspire the other people around you to be compassionate as well, to inspire healing, to inspire vulnerability. There I go again. Take a shot. Oh, that's good. So I like to use this example. I mentor kids in my community. I work at a childhood center. I've been doing it for think it's gonna be 3 years now. It's the best thing that's ever happened to my life. I always speak so highly of that place. I'm so in love with all the children that come in and out of there that I get the privilege of seeing grow. But I feel like they teach me more than I teach them sometimes. But there's this example that just recently happened that just made me connected to my own life. So I'm gonna call this boy Timmy, because nobody names their kid Timmy, right? His name is Timmy Turner. So this boy was just transitioning to a small playground to a bigger playground. And I observe him because that's what we do for a living. We just have to observe these children's development. And I'm watching how excited he's getting to climb this rock wall. So he puts his feet first and then he puts his hands. He only gets like one step up and then he looks at me like he's already expecting me to like catch him. And I'm looking at him like, keep going, you know, like you got it, like keep going. And he starts getting frustrated with me and he starts crying. He's like, no, I can't. I'm gonna fall, I'm gonna fall. And I'm like, Timmy, just go. You need to try. Just try. And if you fall, I will catch you. And if I don't catch you, you can just get back up and you try again. And he's like, no, I'm gonna fall. I'm like, Timmy, just keep going up. So I went by him and I pretended like I was like helping him like lift him up, you know, to get up higher. But I was like barely touching his t-shirt on the side to just make it look like I was lifting him up. And sure enough, he starts lifting himself up and he did it by himself. So right away when he gets to the top, his reaction is like, yes. He's so cute. I'm like, look, I didn't have to lift you up. You did it all by yourself. And you just needed to try. And right there and then, I'm looking at him and he's so excited and he's so eager to go call his friends and grab them by the hand and show them what he can do, and so that they can feel the rush with him, they can feel the enjoyment with him, the happiness that he feels from his experience. And right there and then, it just felt like my angel just smacked me in the back of my head like, hello, bitch, that's what I've been trying to tell you your whole life, that you're not alone, that I see you and that I hear you, but you have to try. And once you take the first step and you keep going, no matter how many times you fucking fall, when you finally succeed at putting yourself out there and making yourself vulnerable, you want people to feel that rush that you feel, to feel that light, to feel that love that you feel. And that's why it's so easy for me to love people, to forgive people, because I just look at them like they're inner children. I look at Timmy, who hates cleanup. As soon as I start singing the cleanup song, punches the kid next to him, and I'm like, whoa, I'm not gonna label you, but what's going on here, buddy? Like, why does that make you mad? What triggered you? What's going on in here? What's going on in here? What's going on at home? You know, like I think of everything, and we just have to look at people that way. And kids are so smart. Like, I love talking about them. Just, this might be off track, but I feel like I should mention it because I'm mumbling and this is my shit. But anyways, given the COVID circumstances, we all have to wear, you know, masks, as well as the kids. And it just never surprises me, but at the same time it does when I see how smart these kids are. They don't even need to see your mouth or your facial expressions to know what your eyes are saying. Like, they could look at me just like from right here and be able to, Delilah doesn't want me doing that, like, or I'm doing something I'm not supposed to be doing, or it's okay, she gave me the approval. Like, they don't have to see this. And it baffles me how as adults our judgment becomes clouded and we forget to see people and read in between the lines. And children do this naturally. They just naturally know who they can trust or read your face, and it's so freaking cool. And I love working with them. I just love them so much. And I think that's why it's easier for me to treat adults like that too. I benefited so much from working there. It's the best. It doesn't even feel like work sometimes. But that's why I want to do this, because I feel like I'm not doing enough. I just want to help. I feel like I'm needed, and I want to do it. So, yeah, you just gotta look at people like their inner child and observe them. So, moving on to the third subject, I've had a couple girls mostly ask me, what did I do to help me move on from a toxic cycle? Sorry, my battery. My battery's gonna die again. Oh my goodness. So I feel like we meet this person, and whoever comes to mind when I talk about this is the person that you have to resonate this with. It doesn't have to be an ex, but we meet these people when we're at our lowest potential, because we think that's all that we deserve. But when you're with someone before you even know who you are, it prevents you from what you are destined to be. And I see so many amazing people, like men and women, so just satisfied in their relationships. And it kind of makes me sad that, and sometimes it gets to me too, because that's an insecurity of mine. That's a fear of mine. Nobody wants to be alone. I don't want to be alone. But I'll be damned if I waste my fucking life away just being satisfied. I wanna live for someone. I wanna live free next to somebody, free with me. I don't wanna have to compromise who I am and who I'm meant to be, who we are meant to be. And it was hard for me to move on. I think it took me like 2 years to really completely detach myself from all of that. And even after it all, I don't hate any of my exes. I'm actually very grateful that I've got to experience them, because look who it made me into. And I'm just so proud. I'm proud of myself. And I think a lot of us should be prouder of ourselves separated from somebody else, if that makes sense. But it has to make sense to somebody out there. But it's not easy. It's gonna be hard. But I think one of the main things that I would think about all the time was, what kind of mom do I want to be in the future? Do I want to be somebody who's just satisfied, or do I want to set an example by waiting, being hungry enough to wait for the right thing that God has in store for me, that God has in store for you? And honestly, if someone's not gonna act right with you, guy or girl, somebody else will. Simple as that. And I wish somebody would have told me how beautiful I am, like, but then I realized that I need to tell myself that. Nobody is obligated to save you or make you learn how to love yourself. You have to love yourself more than anyone. You have to be your own biggest fan. When you think about your dating life, are you dating them first, or are you dating yourself first? Because for 4 years, I was putting myself third, and I lost my voice. I lost my self-respect. I lost my humanity. I was very toxic. I developed bad habits, and I'm still recovering. But I'm telling you, when people come to me about heartbreaks, I get so excited for them, because there's so much that you missed out on yourself, that you didn't catch in the beginning, that you were going to realize about yourself, that you didn't know that you were capable of. And it makes me so happy. Like, literally, when my friends tell me like that they're moving on, it's not even to be like, oh yeah, fuck him, like, yeah, do you, fuck that hoe. Like, it's not even to be like that. It's just more of like, fuck yes, like, that person had you on pause. You need to be who you are meant to be. It's so hard to be what you're destined to be when you have someone next to you all the time and their energy is rubbing off on you, or their habits or their charisma or their character is rubbing off on you. You need to be your own person first. You need to realize who you are, what the fuck you're capable of, your worth. And you can't do that if you stay in something that's just satisfying. So, you know, it was hard for me to leave. I didn't leave for the longest because that was my family. My ex was like the only family I had at the time. I was scared to be alone. I already felt alone. I was a mess. I was at my lowest potential. But now that I'm like, I went from being right here, and that motherfucker was like right here, to be honest, like mentally, but anywho, I went from being right here to right here. I'm still not right here to be with my man up here, my future boo, but I'm working on it. And I know that if I want to attract the person of my dreams, I need to become the person of my dreams. And it's no one's fault but my own. We get one time to do this, guys. So I'm still getting better at this. And frankly, this is like the millionth time that I made this video. So if you don't like it, oh well, there's always gonna be a couple bad ones of the bunch. So I appreciate you listening to me. If you have any feedback or anything you'd like to share with me, I would love to talk to you. I'm working 3 jobs right now, so, and doing these projects, so be patient with me. So, but be patient and kind with yourself and to others, okay? Please, all right? We're the smart ones, we're the chosen ones. We gotta set an example. So if someone's about to fuck up your day, slow down and show them compassion. Give them something that they weren't expecting. Plant that seed. So thank you for listening to my humble tea. Again, my name is Delilah. And be patient and be kind. Give love and be love. Goodbye.